Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the attack on Pearl Harbor. So, as you guys know, this event took place on December 7th, 1941. The main reason it occurred was because the Japanese did not like us. So, they decided to send some aircrafts over that were going to drop bombs on the very popular U.S. naval base known as Pearl Harbor. And just to go back a little bit into the history of Japan and the U.S., we had a history of tension that had been there for decades due to Japan's participation in World War I alongside the Allies, and also the US was trying to stop Japanese expansion because they knew Japan was not expanding for the right reasons. The US decided to try and stop aircraft exports of oil and scrap metal, among other key goods, and also they gave economic support to the Kuomintang forces, which is the Chinese Nationalist Party, in order to hopefully stop Japan's expansion. This was all pretty much taking place during the Great Depression, so people were already pretty down. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back shortly to talk more in depth about what went down on that fateful December day.
Your husbands keep dying in battle? Well, if so, you're in luck. We have a solution just for you. Try buying more government bonds in order to send our troops the supplies they need to survive. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to see your husband once again. Are you busy this July 4th? If not, we are celebrating your independence. We invite you to come out to our live fireworks show, barbecue, and concert with the band The Firecrackers performing. We hope to see you there. Price to enter is $300. We are not responsible for any injuries that may occur to you to being hit by a firework or burned by charcoal.
Welcome back. Now on to what happened. Japan launched a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base near Honolulu, Hawaii, known as Pearl Harbor. The time of this event was just before 8 a.m., and no one saw it coming. Hundreds of Japanese fighter planes descended on the base, where they managed to destroy or damage nearly 20 American naval vessels, including 8 battleships and over 300 airplanes. More than 2,400 Americans died in this attack, including civilians, and another 1,000 people were wounded or badly injured. The day after this horrid assault, President Franklin D. Roosevelt asked Congress to declare war on Japan. This is the event that drove the U.S. into joining World War II. Now, after that truth bomb,
That's no. In the sense that, no. You know what I mean?
it's time for another commercial break. We'll be back.
The sun is almost out, so it's time to protect yourself and your troops. Buy our Sunny Sunscreen, where 30% of the profits go to feeding and getting supplies for your troops. You don't want to burn, and neither do they.
Hello everyone again. It's time to get into the darker side of this attack. I'm going to list to you some sad but interesting facts about this event. The attack on Pearl Harbor only lasted for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. Isn't it crazy that the Japanese military did so much damage in such a short amount of time? Another fact is it's said that Japanese submarines were supposed to play a role in this attack as well. Could you imagine if they used submarines too? I can't. Something that is scary to think about is the fact that the Japanese could have done way more damage if they would have attacked different areas of the naval base. It's terrifying to think an even worse outcome could have occurred. But after those sad facts, I think I should give some happier ones that came from this event. First off, 30 days after the attack on Pearl Harbor, 134,000 Americans enlisted into the military. That's quite a lot of people. And second, Japan is now one of America's strongest allies. Although it's sad how those things came about, it's good at least a little good came from this devastating attack. Now, let's hear a little word from our sponsors, the Clothing Police.
Dressing modestly? If not, why? What is making you do otherwise? Whatever the case is, theclothingpolice.org are here to help. Ladies, can we see your shoulders or ankles? If so, fix that by adding more clothing to your body. Gentlemen, are you dressing respectively? Make sure you dress to impress in order to impress your special lady. You can shop at our website for clothing that is deemed as acceptable by yours truly. No reference into any purchases.
I'm so glad you've listened this long. I hope you continue to enjoy this radio broadcast. Now, I'm sure you're wondering what the civilians thought after this event. American and Japanese civilians had very opposite reactions following the events of Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. For American citizens, Pearl Harbor represented a day which will live in infamy. For citizens of Japan, Pearl Harbor represented the success of a justified military retaliation. Now I'm going to share a quick summary about the Pearl Harbor attack brought to you by The Galindo Show. Japanese diplomats in Washington, D.C. had not yet broken off diplomatic relations with the United States when the first wave of the Japanese attack fell on Pearl Harbor on the morning of December 7, 1941. Believing that the United States was an impediment to their empire-building plans, Japanese militarists planned the attack after the United States had placed an embargo on the sale of oil and scrap metals to Japan. At 7:55 a.m. in Hawaii, Japanese bombers, torpedo bombers, and fighters descended on the U.S. Pacific Fleet, which had started as a sleepy Sunday morning, typically a day American military personnel could sleep late, turned into a bloody nightmare as planes displaying the red ball of the Japanese flag wreaked chaos on Battleship Row. Expecting an attack on the Philippines or British Malaya, the U.S. Navy had withdrawn most of the Pacific Fleet to Hawaii. When the Japanese aircraft struck, the American battleships were lined up in a row in Pearl Harbor. They were without torpedo nets, and their anti-aircraft guns were not ready. Torpedoes from the first wave of the Japanese attack struck and sank the U.S. battleships Arizona, Oklahoma, West Virginia, and California. Japanese bombers also attacked 5 U.S. airfields. The American planes lined up wing to wing to protect against saboteurs, made easy targets for Japanese bombers. The second wave of the Japanese attack came an hour later. By the time the attack was over, more than 2,400 American soldiers and sailors had been killed and more than 1,000 were injured. A total of 8 battleships, 3 cruisers, and 4 other ships were lost, and 188 airplanes had been destroyed. Ships that hadn't been sunk were damaged. The American Pacific Fleet was all but destroyed. Through a stroke of luck, 2 American aircraft carriers were at sea when the attack took place. Japanese losses were light, and they had come very close to achieving the goal of completely destroying the U.S. Pacific Fleet. On December 8, 1941, President Roosevelt went before Congress to ask for a declaration of war against Japan. He said, "Yesterday, December 7, 1941, a date which shall live in infamy, the United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by the naval and air forces of Japan. No matter how long it may take us, the American people in their righteous might will win through absolute victory." The Senate voted unanimously, and the House voted 388 to 1 to declare war on Japan. On December 11th, Japan's allies, Germany and Italy, declared war on the United States, and Congress reciprocated. The United States, woefully underprepared for war, now faced a war on 2 fronts. All talk of isolationism faded as Americans rallied to support their country, an unintended effect of the Japanese assault. Shortly after their attack on Pearl Harbor, the Japanese bombed American bases in Wake Island, Guam, and the Philippines, and attacked British and Dutch outposts as well. For almost a year after the attack, the Japanese controlled the Pacific, and Americans were all ill-prepared to respond. Thank you to The Galindo Show for providing that amazing report. It's about that time for our last commercial break. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Ladies, has your face been looking rough? Do you have constant eye bags? Are you getting no sleep? Well, us at Makeup Nation have the solution for you. Buy our Come Alive foundation in order to look like a new and improved you. It can be yours for a small price of $13. Side effects may include breaking out in hives, discoloration, or even death. Does the food you make taste good? Is your husband eating it? Listen up, ladies. What you need is the Wooden Spoon Trio. It comes with 3 different spoons, each with a different purpose that'll make cooking for your family much easier. Call us at 333-SPOON-TRIO in order to place your order now, for the low, low price of just $33. Also, ladies, remember, use your husband's money to buy these products. He doesn't have to know. These products mentioned will change your life. You deserve them. Hey guys, welcome back for the final time. As we're coming to an end of this episode, I'd like to thank all of our listeners for tuning in this week. I hope you all continue to stay safe during these times. And remember, we are not liable for anything that goes wrong due to products you bought due to our commercials or sponsor. I hope you listen to us next time. Remember, I'm Sarah Masterson, and this is Breaking News Nation. We'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to this week's broadcast from Breaking News Nation. Now that you've listened, you will be charged $333 to your billing address. No refunds.